Hey, what's up guys? This is going to be a trimmed version of 9.1 notes where I don't do the turn and talks, and hopefully by skipping that we can get you the info very fast, but you can still see what I expect you to draw on your interactive note sheet. I also think, there is value. I put the turn and talks there for a reason to plant in your head. There's some good review value there too in this particular set, so maybe you should pause it and think about them, and some of them I do want you to actually write it down. So anyway, here we go. Let's see how fast we can do it. For starters, this year in spring 2025, I'm not going to make you do a rehearse doc for Unit 9, but I still want take a look at the top there. Maybe I shouldn't turn it on you. I still want the historical thinking skills at the top. So this will be something I'll make you take a photograph of, name and pen. I don't have the name on this one. Student, let me borrow theirs. Name and pen, but I want the historical thinking skill boxes at the top. And that's it though, no other rehearse docs, no spiced tea, no buckets or anything for Unit 9, but please put this on your piece of paper and leave yourself enough room for at least 5 bullets in each box. All right, let's get started. All right, inventions that make the world smaller. So think how back in the day, like at the beginning of our class, like you could be in China, they didn't even know the Americas existed. The world was this massive, mysterious place, but now it's like gotten way smaller. That's a huge theme of Unit 9. You can FaceTime somebody in China right now. So what are some technologies that made that possible? There's gonna be a slidey timeline thing of communication technologies on our final exam. So our final content exam. So make sure you know those: telegraph, telephone, radio, television. Then you get into like cell phones. The true internet is like in the 90s, like World Wide Web. That's how I would word it, World Wide Web. Technically there was something before that, but, and then social media. Check out that bottom bullet. Here's the big takeaway from this slide. There's 2 big takeaways. 1, the world is smaller, and 2, look at that, cell phones plus internet equals social media, and then do another equal sign. I wanna see this written down somewhere. Maybe do it in your cause and effect box at the top of your sheet that you just drew. Look at that bullet, empowered individuals. Man, like never before. You can tell the president, like you can like curse at the president and he might read it and respond to it, or like an athlete or an actor. Individuals have power. You can like create a video and become like a TikTok influencer. I don't know, whatever. Y'all understand that more than me. But if I give you one example of the second part there where it says sparked major movements, look at the Black Lives Matter. Great example of people using social media to organize, using cell phones and internet to like bring attention to an issue. Bam, it's just a great example that y'all have lived through and heard of. All right, here's your first thing I want you to truly draw. Draw yourself. You can see on my board over there. It's simple, but these are technologies that have increased interaction after 1900. Commercial travel, just draw like a tube with a bunch of windows. Cargo ships, man. Think all the way back to period 1, like caravanserai, camel saddles. I smell a big technology timeline coming up on the final where cargo ships are going to be toward the end of it. All right, let's keep going. So push pause and then draw these things, obviously, on your sheet. Green Revolution. This is maybe the biggest word of the day. I want you to draw, you're going to have to use your imagination. Draw a stalk of corn. See it over there? It's kind of in the middle underneath our context pile of poop there. Draw a stalk of corn. So here's the context for this, is there's really 3 big agricultural revolutions in world history. And, of course we have the Neolithic, which is way before our class, like 10,000 years ago. Then I would make you guess in class, but it's the Industrial Revolution, with new technology, seed drill, machinery, tractors, ultimately steam power and all that. Then in the mid 20th century, so write Green Revolution on your corn stalk and put mid 20th C. That's massive to no win. This one, think of it, if I had to do a comma juice flex, I would say the use of modern science and technology to dramatically increase food production. Now, what are some examples of that? Draw it in the picture. Put a little syringe going into the corn that says GMO. I know y'all have heard that word. How about look at the pesticide spraying on top of it. And then the last one there, synthetic fertilizer on the ground. Now's a good time to go to your change box, which you should already have drawn. And I think this change is worth it because if you look at period 3, people fought wars over a fertilizer resource. If we were in person, I would make you guess what that was. Boom, guano, bird poop, bat poop. And now that's a massive shift to synthetic fertilizers, man-made fertilizers. I think that's good for this slide. Now, the green revolution, it feeds tons of people, especially in the third world, but it has negatives. In class, I would make you like try to figure these out with your partner. Poor diet. I would make you say, well, what would you say about that in a step 3 of an SAQ, sexy press, and when it says cereal grains, we're talking corn, rice, wheat, have gotten really good at producing those. And you can technically live off those, yes, of course, but it's still not a great diet. What does that mean? What would you say? And then in each block today, they all guessed it. They said some version of diverse nutrients. Yes, that's what you're missing out on, nutrient diversity. So yeah, more people are not starving to death, but is it healthy? All right, so Green Revolution. Another thing to go with Green Revolution is Indira Gandhi. We didn't know much about her, but we drew her little roller coaster the other day. That's something you could put at the top of it. She embraces that and really helps stabilize India's population. All right, I want you to pause and try to do a timeline with arrows in between of feminism, starting with the Enlightenment. Draw an arrow, IR era stuff. Draw an arrow, early 20th century. Push pause, try it on your own for a more meaningful experience. Unpause, I'll give you some answers. Enlightenment, Mary Wollstonecraft, Declaration of Rights and Sentiments, where they kind of copy the Declaration of Independence. All right, now let's go to IR. My whole several females complaining about not being able to vote. Seneca Falls Convention, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony. All right, let's go early 20th century. Boom, the biggest thing, 19th Amendment. Now women can vote. If you want to have some fun, after that, you got the flappers. And the reason I'm doing all this is context for birth control, which had been around, by the way, with working in jobs. We should have mentioned that for IR, and then even World War I. Those are two other good ones that you could like stack under it. Working in factories during IR and in World War I. Birth control, now this is before the flappers, but it's also the modern one, like the pill and stuff, really rise up in that mid 20th century technological boom, all right? Another big change. I want to see this change in your change box, that next bullet. Innovations like antibiotics and vaccines. These are going to be at their height since 1900. They're going to just wipe out all kinds of diseases that used to kill tons of people. If you had to pick one to really flex, penicillin is the most famous. Now we're going to draw these. See these 3 diseases? This could be a continuity bullet for you. Diseases that continue to affect poor people, but not necessarily wealthy people. Draw those. That's a mosquito. It's all about the knees. Your brain, if you draw knees, your brain will think it's a mosquito. We got a person coughing with blood. That's tuberculosis. The mosquito is malaria. I want them labeled, all right? So draw the picture and label it. Cholera, dirty water. These are just some diseases that affect poor people then and now, especially the more cram they get after the IR. Now, if we were in class, I want you to do this on your own, even if you're watching this on YouTube. Push pause. What are some diseases after 1900 that look around you in your own life probably that people are dying from now that they did not really die from in previous periods? You have this sounds weird and morbid, but the luxury of living long enough and eating enough to die of blank. What would that be? Let's give you a couple from the CD. We got heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, type stuff like that. Type 2 diabetes. You need to know the difference. Type 1 is genetic, but type 2 is a lifestyle thing with like excess food and calories and not walking as much, which definitely feels like since 1900. I didn't spend a lot of time on the Spanish flu, and that worries me. It's a pretty big deal if we're tracking diseases. This is after World War I. The boys are going to come spread it around the world when they come home, and it kills tons of people. Let's keep going. Industrial Revolution. Basically, what I want you to do here is to draw a timeline of fuel types. You'll notice over there, under that Taylor Swift Berlin Wall picture, we got, actually pause it and do Pictionary for yourself. What do you see there? Good, coal. And then you can stack these 3 because they kind of go together. The next wave after coal is oil, gas, natural gas. That's what those are. That's where you start to get your cars and planes and everything in the 1900s more. And then think Cold War technology, bam, nuclear. It's cleaner, but it scares people. There's a few like big scares like Chernobyl and the 3 Mile Island in the US that scare people to death. And like it's clean, relatively clean, but people, nobody really wants one built in their neighborhood. And then I want a fourth picture when we do the note check, this new wave of like non-renewable. Pick your favorite. I want to see either a wind like turbine thing or solar panels or a sun or something, but pick your favorite your favorite renewable resource, sorry. All right, let's keep going. If these are a great example of how, if I had to ask you in May, what are examples of humans negatively impacting the environment? That sounds easy, and it is easy, but can you come up with one on the spot? All right, here's a few you could choose from. There's more than this, burning fossil fuels, pollution of the air, pollution of the water, deforestation, chopping down trees. I love this picture, and I'm sad that you aren't gonna get to do it. Maybe we'll do it on like a review day. Check out this. Here's the key, the color key right here. You could probably guess it, like 18th century. We know that's 1700s, and then it's almost like a timeline and a map put together. What comes next? What comes next? What comes next? You could totally figure out the colors that go with that based on telling yourself a story here. What I want to zero in on is the IR starts in Great Britain, of course, and you can see where it kind of spreads first. You see it spreads to the American Northeast, and then boom, you better know that word right there, Magi, boom. This is actually, if you look at the key, mid 20th century. Here, let me flip it. You can see there, mid 20th century yellow, China trying to industrialize. What is that? Boop, great leap forward, good job. All right, let's keep going. Effects of environmental change. This is all stuff you could probably know. Make sure you know the climate debate. Like, y'all have heard that your whole life. What's something that each side would say? Like, what would the people say? Well, we need to like make things better. Like, what are they saying? What is their issue? Like that Greta girl or whatever. And then what do people say on the other side? Like, the anti or the deniers or whatever. All right, let's keep going. Ooh, I love this one. Look at the world's population, by the way. That's terrifying. You can explain these. Look at the years, bro. Look at the years. Pause it and think about them. Challenge yourself. We just did this one today. Mid 20th century. Yep, you're right. Green Revolution. Come on. What are you guessing? It's the 1800s. Bam. IR, good. This one is going to frustrate you. Look what it's after. All right. It's right after the late 1400s. Boom. Columbian Exchange. Good job. Let's see what else we got. Getting close to the end here. Yeah, that's good enough. I think that's good for today. See if I missed anything real quick. That's good enough for now. So make sure you have all your stuff drawn.